I never imagined I'd find myself in a situation like this. My wife, Anna, and I had been married for 6 years, and I truly believed our relationship was strong. We'd been through the ups and downs of life together like any couple, but I thought we were solid, able to navigate the storms. Sure, we had disagreements, but nothing that seemed too out of the ordinary. That's why what happened next was such a shock. It's like everything I thought I knew was turned upside down in an instant. It all started on a typical Saturday. Anna mentioned that she was going out for a tanning session and then planned to run some errands at Walmart and Target. It wasn't unusual for her to do this. She liked to take care of these things herself, and I'd usually stay home or work on a few projects around the house. I spent the day fixing up the garage and tackling a few things on my to-do list. But as the hours went by, I started to notice how much time had passed. She had been gone for much longer than expected, and a strange feeling started to creep in. Something just didn't feel right. When she finally came back, she only had one small bag from Walmart. I remember feeling confused. Her explanation for the time she'd been gone was vague and flimsy. She said she had just gotten caught up browsing around the stores. But it didn't add up. I tried to brush it off, but that uneasy feeling lingered in the back of my mind. As the evening went on, I found myself stewing over her strange behavior. I kept replaying our conversation in my mind, wondering if I was just being paranoid. But then a thought struck me. Maybe there was more to this story. My curiosity got the better of me. So when Anna left the room, I grabbed her phone. My heart was racing as I scrolled through her messages. And that's when I found a message from someone named Brad. My stomach dropped. The messages revealed that Anna had met up with Brad at a hotel that very afternoon. I could feel the blood rushing to my face as I read the exchanges between them. It wasn't just casual, it was clear that they had planned to meet. And I realized that everything I thought I knew about my marriage was about to be shattered. I confronted her right then and there. At first, Anna tried to deny it, but the evidence was right in front of us. She eventually admitted that Brad was an old schoolmate who had recently come back into her life. He was in town for work, she explained, and they had been catching up. She claimed he worked for a company that maintained power lines and cleared trees for Armour in Illinois. According to her, Brad had mentioned that his own marriage was struggling, that he felt lost, and that he had nobody to talk to. But as she told me this story, all I could think about was how she had betrayed me. I was furious. I could barely contain the anger bubbling inside me. Here she was, trying to make it sound like they had just been talking, but they had met in secret at a hotel. I couldn't let this go without knowing the full story. Without a second thought, I told her I was going to contact Brad's wife. That's when she panicked. Anna started pleading with me not to reach out to Brad's wife. She said it would ruin his family, that he had kids, and that I didn't need to make things worse for them. But I couldn't believe what she was saying. I felt like our own family was already destroyed. Why should I care about the fallout for Brad? At that moment, I felt like I had no choice. I told her there was no turning back, and I grabbed my phone. I found Brad's wife on Facebook and sent her a message. I included screenshots of the texts between Brad and Anna, along with my phone number. I knew this would unleash a storm of emotions, but I felt she deserved to know the truth, just as much as I did. Not long after, my phone rang, and it was Brad's wife. I could hear the tears in her voice as she spoke. She was heartbroken, and I could sense the devastation in every word she said. Brad's wife told me she had suspected something was off for a while. She mentioned that he had been distant, coming home late, and making excuses. She just couldn't put her finger on what was going on. But deep down, she had felt that something was wrong. I felt a pang of sympathy for her. She was living the same nightmare I was. She said that she was going to move in with her parents, taking the kids with her until she could figure out what to do next. She planned to confront Brad after letting her family know what had happened. After that call, I confronted Anna again. I laid everything out, telling her how much damage she had done, not just to our marriage but to another family too. I let her know that there was no chance of us coming back from this. She looked at me, crying, but I didn't have any sympathy left. I told her she should be proud she had managed to ruin 2 families in a single day. Did she think I was going to beg her to stay? That wasn't going to happen. Just when I thought things couldn't get worse, Brad called me. He was furious, accusing me of ruining his life by reaching out to his wife. He said I had destroyed his marriage and that I had no right to interfere. I couldn't believe the nerve of this guy. He challenged me to a fight, thinking he could take out his anger on me. I was stunned at first, but then realized that he saw me as weak because my wife had cheated on me. He thought I'd be an easy target. What Brad didn't know was that I'd been training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for years. I had earned a brown belt, and I practiced striking with my friends in my garage a few nights a week. I wasn't a pushover, and I sure as hell wasn't going to back down from his challenge. I accepted his invitation to a fight and told him to come over if he really wanted to settle things that way. A couple of days later, Brad showed up at my house, full of rage. I stepped outside to meet him, and I gave him one last chance to leave. But he wasn't thinking clearly. He was too angry, too consumed by his own pride to see what he was walking into. I knew this wasn't going to end well for him. The fight started, and he charged at me, swinging wildly with his right hand. I dodged his punch and took him down to the ground immediately. Within seconds, I had him pinned. He tried to fight back, but I held him down until he exhausted himself. Then I let him up, but not before making sure he understood the consequences of his actions. He took a beating that day, one that I felt he deserved. I would never lay a hand on my wife, but in that moment, Brad became the embodiment of all the pain and betrayal I felt. When it was over, Brad was lying on my lawn, bruised and beaten, while I stood over him without a scratch. I pulled out my phone and started live streaming on Facebook, telling the whole story for anyone who would listen. I wanted everyone to know what had happened, to understand what I'd been through. "Hey everyone, meet Brad," I said into the camera. He thought it would be a great idea to meet my wife at a hotel a few days ago. Well, I let his wife know, and now he's getting a divorce. He came here today to fight me. "How'd that work out for you, Brad?" He couldn't respond. He just dragged himself back to his car, defeated. My wife, Anna, was watching the whole thing from the porch, tears streaming down her face. She couldn't believe what had just happened. I turned the camera toward her, but she ran back inside, too ashamed to face the world. "Why leave him now, Anna?" I called out after her. "It's clear your dear Brad needs you." Then, I ended the live stream, announcing that I had filed for divorce. I figured that people would find out about it anyway, so why not just get it all out in the open? The next morning, the video went viral in our town. Everyone was talking about what had happened. Brad had to face the reality of his actions, not just at home, but in public too. He became a laughingstock, and everyone knew him as the guy who cheated and then got beaten up for it. He had 2 black eyes and a sprained ankle, reminders of his own poor choices. As for Anna, she was humiliated. She had hoped to keep everything quiet, but now it was all out there. Our families knew, our friends knew, everyone knew. I told her there was no coming back from this, and I asked her to leave that night. She packed her things, tears still in her eyes, but there was nothing more to say. I watched her drive away, feeling a mix of relief and sadness. It's hard to let go of someone you once loved, even when they've hurt you deeply. Looking back, I can't believe I was so blind to Anna's true nature. But I guess that's how life is sometimes. You think you know someone until they reveal their true colors, and you're left wondering how you missed the signs. I hope my story serves as a lesson to others. You never know what people are capable of until they are put to the test. Life moves on, and I have started to find my footing again. I've returned to training and focused on myself. I joined a local gym and met some great people who have helped me heal emotionally. I've realized that I need to take care of myself first before I can even think about dating again. I've learned to set boundaries and understand what I want in a relationship. While I still carry the scars of betrayal, I know I am stronger for having gone through this. I believe that every storm passes and the sun will shine again. As for Brad and Anna, they can deal with their choices. I have my own life to live, and I intend to live it fully. Now, as I sit here reflecting on the past months, I feel a sense of peace. I've learned to embrace the lessons that life has thrown my way. Sometimes, you have to endure the storm to appreciate the sunshine. I know that whatever happens next, I am ready to face it with a renewed sense of strength and clarity. And for that, I will always be grateful.